Say that a lot in the younger days.
No touchy. Did you ever watch Emperor's New Groove?
You watch a lot of cartoons, just so you know.
I do, yeah.
Everything you reference is a cartoon. I've just noticed that,
man, and I like the cartoons more than they did.
Oh, did you? You got into it?
Oh yeah. Well, the David Spade is the demon llama. He's the llama. He gets turned from an emperor into a llama, and he says, "No touchy, no touchy."
No touchy. Okay, I remember that. Anyways, we've got a regular guest on tonight. We're super excited about this. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube tonight. Mr. Beck is in Vegas right now, and we miss him so much. Sort of. No, I was joking. We miss him a lot, and I'm sure he's having a lot of fun. Yeah, you know what? Last night he almost made me get canceled on LinkedIn because he was on the strip in Vegas. No, Dominic.
Well, I think if we bring it up less, then Facebook
probably shouldn't do that.
Chase you down, right?
Exactly. Anyways, to everyone else, please throw in your comments tonight or ask Bill a question. I'm sure he'd love that as well. And if you don't know who Bill is a foodie writer now. He writes about food. He does videos. He creates content. He's also the previous animated comedian writer for The Simpsons. Did I say that right?
Oh, yeah,
I said that right.
It sounded a little fucked up, but it was good, Jay. But you know what? You got his name right. You got his history right. You got his current stuff right.
Well, it's nice to have a regular guest that I can actually say their name right. That's why we have Bill always back, because we can say his name right.
That's awesome.
No, you know what? Bill's traveling all over doing these amazing dinners, and we want to talk more about where he is and what he's doing next. He is on holidays, so we do have to appreciate that he's on holidays, Dominic. He shows up, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find your internet today? You found your internet, I see.
Something was wrong. I'm not sure what the heck was going on. I rebooted. I think there was a computer thing. I don't even think it was the internet thing, because when I tried to connect to my mobile hotspot on my phone, which had like a super strong signal, like 5G, the whole bit, it still was no good.
So. Yeah. Well, you found it. I'm glad you found it.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you used your rabbit ears.
My rabbit ears.
Yes. Okay. Do you remember this?
Well, I wrapped them in foil, because that's what you have to do with rabbit ears, right? You wrap them in foil to make sure they're working properly.
and the clothes hanger.
One finger on the thing and one thing on a copper pipe thing. So
I love it. It's gonna be so good tonight. Anyways, I remember that I used to have like the clothes. What are they called? What are those things called, Dom? Hangers.
Metal
hangers,
as an antenna.
Yeah.
Well, because you kids, you probably broke the antenna. That's what happened. That's why
whipping each other with them. Yeah. Anyways, let's get chatting with Bill tonight. It's gonna be great. Are you focusing?
I'm focusing.
You can't do two things at once. I talked about this today.
I got a hard stop in.
Don't say
minutes.
5. No. Wait, you gotta get to bed early or what?
Yes, I do.
Matlock is on tonight, isn't it?
That's not even a joke. I'm watching Matlock. It's pretty darn good.
It's awesome.
The new Matlock.
I was thinking about the old one.
No, there's a new one.
All right, let's bring Bill in. Here we go. Quick intro. Remember, 10-second intro.
10 second, yeah.
Here we go.
I say bring Bill.
Awesome. Welcome back, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hello. Great to be back. Nice to see everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Bill, did you ever do that with your TV? Get the old rabbit ears out and back in the day?
Yes. Back when I was a kid, we had that. Especially like my grandmother had it, and we had like a TV that was like in the basement or something that had that. When you had the rabbit ears and you put foil on the ends. Yeah. Yes, I just think they remember that.
Jay, you put foil on them. It wasn't even a joke, man.
Was it in the instructions?
That kind of faded, by the way, that kind of faded out of existence in like 1977. So
The foil
I think
industry
it probably
went
was
upside down
87 in Canada because like we only had 2 channels probably till
till
the mid 80s,
94.
early 80s.
No, no, I had it in 95.
You had 2 channels still in 95?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. We
And
didn't
you
have
were
all
one
the
of the
lucky
lucky
ones.
ones, right, Jay?
I was the lucky one. Yeah, well, it was. You didn't know if CBC was going to go kind of wonky because it wasn't always clear. CTV was always clear, but CBC, no, it always had that feel to it.
Yeah, we would have had 2 channels plus probably 3 French channels, right?
So, Bill, once again, thank you for joining us on your holiday this week, this month, and I'm excited to hear where you've been, what you've been doing this last month since we last talked to you.
You know, when I last talked to you, I think I had just come back from the Las Vegas the
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the fancy food show, right? And I talked to you all about that. So honestly, I haven't been anywhere since then, except right now when I'm on vacation in Phoenix, Arizona, which is number one why I'm red because I was out in the sun all day. Number two, why I have to wear my glasses because my normal computer isn't so close to my face as this laptop is for this particular
mhm.
stream. So that's why everything's a little different. And you can see the hotel room behind me. And this actually is not a work trip; it's a leisure trip
Really?
because yes, I live in Portland, Oregon, and the weather there starts to get on your nerves after a few months of gray 42-degree weather. So I decided to come to Phoenix. I've never been to Phoenix, and it's a quick flight. And I thought I would come here and like just hang out at a pool in the sun all day, and that's what I'm doing. I'm also
Good
drinking
deal.
too, which I'm doing on the show tonight.
Which is great.
That's
Mhm.
highly encouraged, Bill.
It's
But now let's talk about that half-a-gallon can there, which we never
You
got.
guys are so baffled by these cans. This is the funny thing. I
We
assume
don't
there's
get 'em?
most. I don't know
Is it
whether
for
your viewers
four?
are Canadian. Your viewers are more Canadian or
Well,
American.
there's not
No,
enough
we got lots in
aluminum
the
up
States.
here in Canada.
You know
There's
what the
not enough
tariffs? You
aluminum,
know what the
Jay.
tariffs hit in that can, Bill?
Well, I guess I'm
Well,
blessed to live in the land of big cans, in a number of ways. So this it's you guys have been remarking on this can for quite a while now. Now, see in America, a lot of drinks of this nature and even beers, for example, come in 24-ounce cans. And they come, you don't get these in 6 packs. These come in, like if you go to 7-Eleven, for example, you can get you can get almost any kind of any drink that you normally get in a 24-ounce can.
And
And
here's the
that's
bad thing. That drink in the States is $1 probably.
it's like
But that's the good thing.
it's like
Sorry,
three
it's not
bucks,
a bad thing. It's a great
It's
thing.
$3.
mm-hmm,
Isn't
$3,
that'd be
$3.49.
$15 here?
That'd be $15 here, Bill.
Well, our alcohol industry it has a lot of sway in America, and they really control a lot of things. So there's you guys, as we discussed, the Canadian government is probably concerned a little bit more about its citizens' health and how much they drink, so they don't sell cans in this big size, and they charge a lot of money for them. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Yes, they really care about us.
Somebody just told me that Ontario, because of all this, all the liquor being pulled off the shelves.
Yeah.
Somebody just told me, somebody in the food and beverage industry told me that Ontario consumes more liquor than any other place on earth,
Yeah.
and
It,
that
it,
this.
it, it is the largest purchaser. The Liquor Control Board of Ontario is the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world because there's a lot of people and they control the distribution of it. So
And
it's
that,
a
yeah.
big deal to anybody that makes booze in the States that they've stopped buying it.
Oh yeah, I heard that the Jack Daniels, for example, said that's far worse than any tariff or whatever that their products being pulled off the shelves. So
Yeah.
anyway, I guess I'm lucky to live here where we have all this stuff, but we don't get. We'll see how lucky I am shortly. At least we
Bill,
still have our huge cans of booze.
Bill, are you hearing anything? I don't want to make this one all about tariffs tonight, but are you hearing anything like in Arizona and stuff about the tariffs, or is it secondary news?
And well, first of all, I'm trying not to read or listen to that much news while I'm on vacation.
True.
Good for you.
But no, all we have here is there's TV ads telling immigrants to get out. I came down here. I'm not kidding. By the way, I came down here. We don't have these ads in Oregon, I guess, because we don't have so many,
Oh my God.
immigrants. But there's this ad, anybody who's interested in this, you got to. It's on YouTube. This ad I saw on TV today with Kristi Noem, who is the Secretary of
Homeland Security.
whatever, Homeland Security. Yeah, you know better than I do. Telling, basically, just like warning immigrants they have one chance to get out now, and it's rather shocking. It really seems like it's from the movie The Purge. This ad, and this is real. Take a look at it.
Wow.
So anyway, in answer to your question, I haven't heard anything about the tariff. I'm purposely not reading any news, and I just happen to see that.
Do you think he'll hit the? Do you think he'll?
Like
Sorry, go ahead.
in Phoenix? What's the food like? What's the food scene like?
Well, so far it's excellent. I had to say I haven't been to Phoenix before, and it's the 5th largest city in America. I didn't even quite realize that. It's very spread out. It's very right now. The temperature it's beautiful. I mean, my Uber driver said that in the summer it's awful because it's 118 degrees and you can't go outside. And if you walk across the street with asphalt, it's like blasting you in the face. So, but right now it's beautiful. It's like 75, 80 degrees.
Oh, perfect.
And the food scene is actually, it seems to be really good. Part of the problem is this is a very spread out city. It's very flat. And it takes a long time for me to get anywhere. But last night I went to what some people call the best pizza place in America, Pizza Bianco, founded by Chris Bianco, who's got a couple of locations of this. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. And I had this pizza called the Rosa, which is made with red onions, Parmesan Reggiano, rosemary, and pistachios, Arizona pistachios. And it was shockingly good. I've never had a pizza that was quite like that. I mean, I've had white pizzas that have a lot of ricotta and stuff on them, but this seemed almost like some sort of like French tart, like a really fancy French pastry tart but it was amazing. So I had that. This morning I had some incredible huevos rancheros at a Mexican place. So, I mean, I'm very impressed with the food scene so far.
Nice. That's cool.
Pizza looks
I like the
beautiful.
idea of the pistachios. That right away got me. And they're grown there in Arizona.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool too. I didn't know that. I thought all the pistachios came from California for some reason, but I'm sure if they can grow there.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this, and I was hesitant to try it, but everybody said you got to try this particular pizza, and it really lives up to the hype.
Nice.
Here, look at it, Dom. I got it here on the screen.
Well, now
Look
you're
at all the fancy things. There we go. Is that it, Bill?
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks
I
like.
like the crust already. I like the look of the crust.
They really know what they're doing. They have a wood-fired oven in their huge brick thing. So that's that was an incredibly impressive meal, and I hope to have a few more. I can only have maybe 7 meals a day. That's part of the problem with this kind of trips. When I go to these places, it's like I'm going to have 2 breakfasts, I'm going to have 3 lunches, and 2 dinners. And the problem is I only like to have food when I really want it. So, oh my God, look who just joined. I
know. Look at this.
I'm just the man in the field. Keep going, Bill.
I can only eat so much food, and after a certain point, I start to not enjoy it as much. So I have to be careful to park. And when I come to a place like Phoenix, I have 85 recommendations of places to go to, and so like this place was an easy pick because it was recommended by 20% of the people. That's it. Pizzeria Bianco, a beautiful space too. But in terms of like what I'm going to do second, third, fourth, fifth, it's tricky because I can only go so many places, and I don't want to eat food when I don't want it.
Are people recognizing you, Bill, out there in the pizza scene now, like in the food scene? Are they going, oh, it's Bill Oakley, people, and then they
It really depends on the place. Not so far here. A guy recognized me. I have a T-shirt that looks like it came from medical school that says Hollywood Upstairs Medical College, which you may recognize as a Simpsons joke. That's where Dr. Nick went to medical school.
Hello, everybody.
That was my joke. I was wearing this shirt today, and a guy in the pool was like, "Hey, that's hilarious. It's a great Simpsons reference. It's a real obscure Simpsons reference." And I said, "Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. I made up that joke." And I think the guy thought I was crazy, and that was the last thing he said. And that's happened twice with that shirt. That I don't know if the guy, if it just ends the conversation when I say I made up that joke, but I did make up that joke. But both times that somebody has approached me about the shirt, that was the last thing that I said was that I made up that joke, and then they're like, "Oh," and then they leave.
What is he talking about? Yeah. It's so funny.
I think maybe they think I'm crazy, or maybe they're just, I don't know. They don't know what to think of it. So, but yes. So that said, I didn't get recognized for my food work in Phoenix here yet. Maybe that will change. I got recognized for my jokes.
So Bill,
Hey,
what's
Bill.
so good? Go ahead. Go
Pizza
ahead there,
Bianca.
Mr. Beck.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I'm dropping in here. I saw Pizza Bianca. It is on my hit list. Last time I went to Phoenix, I stood in line and I just couldn't make it in time because I run off to a plane. It is supposed to be one of the highest rated.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, no.
I
Some
agree,
people say it's the best pizza in America, and
Yeah,
I
I've
mean,
heard
it's
that before.
it's remarkable. Okay, so we lost him. Where I wonder where he was.
He's in Vegas right now.
I know, but where specifically where he was?
Oh,
I want to talk to him about that. Anyway, so I have a long list. I have 40 other places to visit, and maybe 6 more meals that I can that I can
40.
slot them into.
40.
Yes. So we'll see. Anyway, this is a vacation. So the work trips start in late April for these dinners. I have the dinners, as you discussed, I've been setting them up all over the country. And it's possible that we could have as many as 30 this year, but it's probably going to end up being more like 12 to 14 just because of the logistics.
Yeah.
And also, I have to say, a number of people in the restaurant business are not the best correspondents. So they often they don't check their email as frequently as one might a desk bound person might do.
Jay said exactly that today. He called wanting to pull his hair out, whatever's left of it, saying,
Yeah,
well,
that
what
was
is with these restaurant guys? I'm from the restaurant world, and they don't follow up. They don't return your calls. They don't respond to their emails, or they think they responded to.
They're just
They're
busy.
busy. They're busy.
Busy, and they're not computer. They're not guys who sit at a desk in front of a computer all day. And I respect that. I admire that. I want to be a person like that. So if they don't respond, I mean, they get a certain amount of time, and then I move on to another place.
And you have to, yeah.
But I have a lot of interest from a lot of places. Some of them are already booked, and some of them seem like they're going to be booked, but they may vanish. So I'm like I said, this is going to be an interesting year. And then also, by the way, I think one of my next trips after the first or second dinner is the restaurant show, the NRA show, Chicago, which you guys are going to be at, right?
We're going to be there.
We're all going to be there.
You're going to be there with us too.
Yeah, Bill's
Right.
going to join us. Yes,
we
you
still
are.
have to get that.
Well, you're going to be at the booth talking with us, but we're going to take you to dinner, and you're going to take us to dinner. And then are you doing a dinner in that? Are you doing a dinner in Chicago at the NRA show?
Not at the show, but I'm going to do a dinner in Chicago another time.
Oh, okay.
Michael, where are you in Las Vegas?
I am right now. I'm making my way from the Forum, Caesar's Forum Convention Center, and walking through the tunnels over to Harris right now in the link.
Okay, thanks.
But it was the Mertech show. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to follow the backgrounds and see where you are. Anyway, yes. So the restaurant show is an incredibly good time. The last 2 times I've been there, the last 2 years, it's one of my favorite events of the year. I can't believe how beautiful that McCormick Place Convention Center is, especially that one that's on the lake. I don't want to leave there, and it's always so. I'm excited to be there and part of this podcast team, I guess.
Yeah, but we're gonna have you there. We're gonna get that all set up this week, Bill, and we'll send you that information and get all that lined up. So do you have another, like, your next stop, Bill, after your holidays? Are you back out having these dinners?
I should be having a dinner starting within about 6 weeks, but again, a lot of it depends on the logistics and how nailed down I can get them with restaurant types. So we're working on that. But I think I want to talk about not just the dinners, because we've talked about that before. Yeah. But did I talk about steamed hams last time?
A little bit.
The first time we talked steamed hams, but I think the world needs to know.
Yeah. We can talk steam hams.
I don't want to repeat myself then, but even though you might think it would belong to Fox, which is now owned by Disney, I have the trademark for steamed hams now. For steamed hams as a food item, and I think we discussed this before.
Well, they let it lapse, right?
Well, they didn't let it lapse, but they failed to object when I tried to trademark it, which they needed to do. And maybe they didn't care. Maybe they didn't know what it was. Maybe they had better things to police. They had to police Iron Man, and they had to police Cinderella and things like that. And they're not policing every tiny thing that appeared on The Simpsons.
Right.
But that's to my benefit as the author of Steamed Hams. I want to make as much money off it as possible. So I have gotten the trademark for it. and working in tandem with probably with both restaurants and manufacturers, you're going to see it sometime, hopefully within the next year or two, either in your freezer section or at your local
No.
hamburger purveyor or both.
Cool.
What about merch, shirts, swag?
I That's a trickier area because I have it as a food item. I don't have it as a thing, but I might be able to
Oh,
have my trademark. When you trademark something, it's a specific type of. Look at all this crap in the background.
That's those guys are from
It's
Bluey.
Vegas. Yeah.
Huh?
Talk
That's
about
Bluey.
trademark
come
infringement.
on, back.
I know
back.
exactly where he is. He's right near that Guy Fieri restaurant. That's it in the background. Yes, I know exactly where he is. There's
Yes,
Spider
yes.
Man.
That's okay. Yesterday I was giving him some a little more cheeky, if you know what I mean, when we were walking by.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, yes.
Hey guys, I gotta meet some people. Bill, I didn't want to miss a second. I was able to just say hi. I hope I didn't disrupt too much. It's a
No,
little bit
not
of
at all, Mr. Beck.
fanboyism on my side. I just wanted to show up and show my support. Love you guys. I hope you have an awesome night. And
Thanks,
I can't wait till
Michael.
we get pulled together. Thanks,
Beck.
everybody.
We'll see you later.
That's it. Bye.
So there's a fine line, Bill, between what you can and can't do when it comes to merch.
Well, I could probably sell merch with my trademark on it, but I can't sell merch with Principal Skinner on it, for example.
Really?
That's Fox's property, right? That's I can't do anything. And all my Steam hands are not going to have Simpsons. They're not going to have Simpsons
Yeah.
characters on them because those are very much the property of Disney. So it's going to be a fine line to tread.
Wow. Is it?
Yeah, you
getting
don't
pretty-
want them as your enemy. I don't think, right?
No, I mean they have an infinite amount. They have some of the best. Disney has some of the best lawyers that exist. I mean, you may have heard what they did in Florida, and how they finally they beat down Ron DeSantis with their lawyering genius. So I'm not going to tangle with them, but I'm just going to try to stick this into my ear. Also, they're probably busy. They don't care about some guy making hamburgers, referencing a 30-year-old Simpsons line, but maybe they do. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out, eh? So you're
Well, that's exciting. If you're working with manufacturers, because that sort of whole product development stuff, that's cool. It's a lot of
exciting.
work. I think what a lot of people don't understand, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, for
have
sure.
you done it before, Bill? Have you done it before?
No, I haven't, and I'm only barely even just beginning with that, so it will be quite a while.
I'll tell you what not to make, Bill. I created a burger. I created a burger once. It was called the Flex Burger. I've created a burger across Canada, and we manufactured it. We sold it. It didn't sell. I always say there's probably a few semi trucks in Toronto with trailers full of Flex Burgers.
Was it a frozen burger?
Yeah.
Patty?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was frozen, but it was a 40-60 blend. So 40% plant-based and then 60% ground beef.
Mm-hmm.
And it cut the costs down. So it still tasted like a burger because it was high fat. We used a high fat ground beef. And then we used like mushrooms and lentils and that kind of stuff in the other 40% because lentils are like 1/10 the cost of beef.
Mm-hmm.
So we dropped the cost down about 40% on burgers and it tasted like a burger.
Do you think maybe you were just early, Jay? You might have just been early.
I think we were a little early to market. So that's my recommendation, always making sure the timing's everything in these kind of things. I was a little early. And the other thing is they didn't know where to put it on the menu.
Yeah.
People didn't know like where's it going? It doesn't go in the vegan. It doesn't go in the burger.
The flex section, Jay.
Yeah, but there wasn't a flex section. I tried that line. It didn't work. But it is, to Dominic's point, it is a long and interesting journey when you go through that process because you have to learn about the nutrition side of it. You have to learn the packaging, even all these things that you go through. It is crazy, and then the release of it or the sampling and it's crazy, but a lot of fun. But it is nothing better. We won the top innovative burger item that year, and it was awesome, but it was just, we were a little early to the mix of it. So enjoy that, Bill. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So creating that, what's next after all this? Are you going to, we got bigger things, Bill. What's gonna be next?
Well, I mean, my next thing is my writing. Like I only have. I don't know how much we want to talk about non-food stuff on this thing. I think I
Let's
already
go
talked about
nuts.
Space 1972. That's my magnum opus. And just to review, a few years ago, I did a project called Space 1969 for Audible, which was
Mhm.
it's a basically a radio show. 10 episodes that is done. Audible, which is owned by Amazon, has it's mostly audio books, which are. Did I already tell you this whole story? I'll review it quickly. No,
Hey, go,
did I
go,
tell you
go,
this?
go. Yeah, no, keep going. Keep going.
Okay, so Audible, you may have heard of, is mostly audiobooks, and it's like
I have
somebody
a-
reads Harry Potter, somebody
Yeah, yeah.
reads, Anna Karenina or whatever, and you can listen to it in the car. They also do a couple. They also every year do a few original things that you can only get on Audible that are more like radio shows or whatever, right? So I did this thing for them called Space 1969, and we got Natasha Lyonne to star in it, and it was a 10-episode story that took place in an alternate 1960s where Kennedy was not killed, but instead decided to get out of Vietnam and colonize space as quickly as possible. And Natasha Lyonne is a nurse on an American space station who gets drawn into this large conspiracy. And it was my favorite thing I've ever written because they just let me write whatever I wanted, and I wanted to write this. It's everything I love writing about, and it became a surprise bestseller. So they ordered a sequel, and the sequel I've listened to. My job for the past 2.5 years is writing the sequel, which is Space 1972, and I literally am just like I'm a few days away from completely finishing the
No
script.
way.
It's
That's
600,
exciting.
683
How-
pages of script,
How many?
and 683 pages of script.
Wow.
10 that I wrote, 2.5 years, 10 episodes, and we're already starting to produce it now. So that's my job, and that's what I do. That's like as you know, food stuff doesn't seem to pay very much money. And so that's my food stuff is more of my hobby still. Although the dinners will pay money. This is my actual job. So and it's hopefully I believe in the fall or winter, you'll be seeing it for sale.
No
Cool.
way. That's really cool.
But it's still going to be because I have Audible. I'm going to listen to Space 1969. I'm going to start listening to that tonight.
Excellent.
It's going to be it's a radio show on Audible though. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
It's hard to describe because all the way up till the night before they released it, they didn't know what to call it. Was this a podcast? Is it an audiobook? And it's not really either. But they called it an audiobook finally, but it's not an audiobook. Audiobook, when you hear audiobook, you think it's somebody reading a book.
No,
That's not what this is. This is it's like a radio show, basically.
it's like I used to. Well, I don't even know if they still play, but here in Calgary, they had those old radio shows where they'd play the radio shows from where people actually were acting out,
Yes.
with the sound effects in the background and everything.
That's just what this is like.
Kind of cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that format too.
Bill, did you have what you should do on that? Just I'm not telling you what to do, but it's that
That sounds like Jay.
you should do that, but do it on TikTok. Have you seen that guy? There's a guy on TikTok that does like the 1940s talk show. And
No.
people call in, and he's dressed up. It's all black and white too, and it's live on LinkedIn. I'll send it to you, Bill. I'll send you the link. And
Great.
he does it, and it's like 1940s, and he's got that mic, that 1940s mic sound.
Yeah.
And people call in or message in through TikTok, and it is so bloody cool. And he's got like, the 1940s look. He's dressed up, and he talks and he interviews people as if he's back in time in the 40s. It's
Wow.
brilliant.
Cool.
Yeah. I'll send it to you. It's brilliant. So you should do that with yours. You should launch it on TikTok too.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. It's all right. See, Dom, I get one good idea a week. That's all I'll say for you, Bill. Because I just find that fascinating. Now, were you a fan of the 60s, Bill? Like that era?
Yes, even though I was only 3 years old in the 60s, I'm a big fan of that type of stuff. And because I guess I grew up on reruns. And so the whole thing is steeped, like, you don't have to know anything about the 60s to appreciate this.
Mhm.
I mean, lots of people who are in their 20s, lots of people 25 years old love this thing. But the more you know about it, the more you appreciate it, because there's excruciatingly detailed parodies of things like Laugh-In and things like that you may never have heard of, that we went to immense lengths to parody perfectly. And there's fake commercials, and there's all sorts of stuff that sounds like it's from the 60s. that is like lovingly detailed, and including a lot of the characters, people, famous people from the 60s who go in and out of the story, and Jerry Lewis and people of that nature. And then in 1972, time was moved. The new one, time was moved forward a few years, and so it's a little bit more. The 60s are over. We're into that early kind of grungy early 70s period, and there's different characters, people like Richard Pryor, for example, things like that, and there's a whole new and music background, All in the Family, things like that. So it's very fun because we get to, I get to write these, and then we get to produce excruciatingly detailed parodies of the Brady Bunch, All in the Family, that take
Oh,
place in this universe where Kennedy is still president in his fourth term.
but
In his
you,
fourth
you,
term.
you
Yeah. Was there no term limits at this point yet?
Well, interestingly, this was covered, but I will spoil it for you. And the term limit thing was not introduced into the Constitution until after Kennedy was shot. And in
really?
my universe, Kennedy was not shot; he was shot and
Right.
didn't die. So they never introduced that amendment.
Well, and so let's do a little bit of history, because I don't know enough to know. Because I know not Truman.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm totally wrong. That was introduced after Franklin Roosevelt,
Right,
and it
because he
was
had
in the
multiple
Constitution.
terms. Why?
Yes,
Because of the
but
war?
in my universe,
Yeah.
I explained this in the first episode,
Okay.
and I'll spoil it
Cool.
for you.
Don't
Kennedy has both Ted Kennedy, his brother, and Bobby Kennedy, his brother, in the Senate, and they're able to get it repealed.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
So, Bill,
Well,
let's.
that's really exciting, especially being this close. 2.5 years. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work, right?
Like?
It was a lot of work.
Bill? What's it like?
Writing
Do
is
you
hard.
sit down? Do you
Writing
sit
is hard.
down? Yeah, like, do you have a routine?
Yes, it's hard and boring. The thing is, this is the funnest thing I've ever written. Like, I would never, like, I would go crazy if I had to write a book, like a prose book or something like that. Or even it's like Simpsons, very hard to write, very hard. Even with writing work with Josh Weinstein, my best friend, it's very hard. And I was envying people who were outside parking cars, and like, why do I have to write this script? I'd rather be parking cars. But this particular thing, I love writing this because it's still hard to write, because getting started writing is the hardest part. And every time I get started, it's like, oh, I'd rather do anything, but I get started, have a routine, put on the noise canceling headphones, turn off the internet, get a cup of coffee, sit down, review what I wrote yesterday. And then in 20 minutes, I'm into it, and I'm excited because
Nice.
I love writing this thing. And this thing doesn't require a lot. It's not like writing prose. It's all dialogue because it's a radio show.
Mm.
And I know the characters really well, and it's fun to write. But again,
Cool.
getting started writing, even on my favorite project of all time, this one, it's still hard to get started writing every day.
Very cool.
That's incredible. What do you think? I gotta ask, sorry, I'm totally off food topics here, Bill, but I'm okay with that. Is that what do you think of people today using AI to write?
I used AI a little bit for Space 1972.
Yep.
I didn't ask it for any writing advice. Writing advice is bad. Writing advice is bad. It's not funny. Its suggestions are stupid, but it is useful for things like, what was the address of the Republican National Committee in 1972? That would take me hours to figure out online, but I
Yeah.
ask it, and it gets the answer. So I did that. I used it for things like that. A couple times, or like, what would be like, I'm not going to spoil too many things, but like, how would somebody drive from city A to city B in 1972? That kind of thing. So it did research for me that I would normally have had to do myself online. That would have been really complicated and hard to do. So I did use it for that.
Let's bring it back to food, Jay. I got a question on the history side of this. As you're writing this, and maybe there's not food involved in the radio show at all, but do you think food's gotten better, worse, the same? Like, what from and you're probably just a kid in the 70s, but let's say to the early 80s. What, I don't know, when would you have been a teenager? Late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah.
I think you're around my age. Do you think food, like if you remember, and I don't know what your memories are, but has food gotten better?
Oh,
Has food
yes.
gotten-
There's no question of America. I can't really speak for Canadian food.
No, we're the same. I think I'm going to have the same opinion, but go.
It's gotten astronomically better. I mean, exponentially better, because when I was people have written books about this, and American food was really dull for about 150 years because it was extremely well, first of all, until refrigeration, it was extremely dull. And then refrigeration and freezers changed things. And that I'm on the Food That Built America, by the way. Let's get to that, by the way. Let's not forget to talk about the Food That Built America. That's how I know all this stuff, or a lot of it. And then the food was all the way up till the 60s was pretty bland because it was James Beard and it was Julia Child who introduced America to the idea of cooking, of French cooking, and James Beard not so much French cooking, but using like natural ingredients, things that were in season, and Julia Child French cooking, and it was very weird. So even when I was a kid, it it was weird. It was rare to go to a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
It was rare to go to a Mexican restaurant. We never ordered pizza. We had our food. We were eating like it was the 50s. You know, my mom will cook dinner every single night,
Yep.
and we would have a certain menu of real, like old standards, including things like liver and onions and stuff like that nobody serves anymore. And it didn't really progress. Like I think as the 80s came, like, people didn't, the breakfast burrito didn't even exist till like 1996. This is one of the things, people are so used to this now. It didn't exist anywhere. You can maybe find it in one or two places in New Mexico in the 80s, but like it wasn't a thing that people knew until like,
Yeah.
so I was at the Simpsons, for crying out loud. And so like the whole idea of people eating Chinese food, Mexican food, and even more exotic cuisines like Indian food, that's all stuff that's happened in the past 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill, I'm going to show you something that I don't know if you know of, but I'll show you something that I think you might like on the screen here. And I use this because I do a lot of writing, but I also do a lot of research and stuff for restaurants I coach. This is really cool. Maybe you use this, maybe you know about it. It's a little old, but I don't know if you can see that. This is the food
Oh, I have seen this.
timeline. It is wild. Dom, you ever see this?
I think we did this on one of our shows once.
And you can go into this. So you can go into the 1960s, 1958, right? And look at different things that are going on. My favorite is you can get into 1968 taco salad, Dom. Nixon's favorite meatloaf.
Oh, yes.
And then you can click on them. And then it goes into what was happening around those times. And all I have to do is I have to warn people because you will bury yourself in this research and the
This is
history,
fantastic.
and you get
I gotta
reading
write this
about
down.
yeah. So look up
Foodtimelines.org.
foodtimelines.org. It's not updated. It's up to 2007, I think it is, 2009.
It looks like it was one of those early internet projects. It's probably
Yeah, it looks like someone's work,
the look of the page there.
but it's still really cool when you look
Yeah.
at I like these side things when you get into them and you find the history behind a lot of this food. And I use it for when we were writing menus or using nostalgia into menus. And we would go in here and we'd look at, okay, what were they doing back then for comfort food? How do we take that dish and make it different today? And it's got some great stuff
Well,
in here.
the cool thing is I've been to a couple restaurants lately, and they're doing deviled eggs, and I love
Yeah.
deviled eggs. Right?
I'm glad
but
that's back.
those are gone for I can't even remember when. Probably 30 years.
Well, look at this. Look at this chicken liver pate. Right? Like 1981, 82, 83. Right? Love it. So there you go, Bill.
That is super cool. And some of these dishes are making a comeback. I don't know if they're making a
They
comeback
are.
in a big way, but in Portland, for example, Gabriel Rucker, who's one of our most beloved chefs, multiple James Beard Award guy, brought back Salisbury steak at one of his restaurants. And I had it last year, probably the best thing I ate last year.
I was going to say it's probably a smash hit.
Yeah. It's
Now, is it a smash hit because he's doing it really well? It's probably two things. He's doing it really well, and there's a nostalgia thing that happens, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and I think when you look at a lot of those dishes, the more crazier the world gets, the more that we crave those, right? And we go back to those simpler times. The food will
Yeah.
take you there. The food will take you there, and it's amazing what food does. The other thing I want to share with you, Bill, I love talking to you about food, is I did this at an event I spoke at. I believe food can trigger memory, like the smell of food.
Oh yeah.
right?
That
Right.
yeah.
So,
That's a known thing, Jay.
but I was actually looking at it. Can it help people with Alzheimer's? And
Mhm.
in a sense of bringing them back, because music does it. I don't know if you've seen the whole Apple thing when they let people that have, lost a lot of their memory play music through their headphones and they turn back into like they were back when they were young. And so I did this event where I took the whole room and I had the chef cook me, I forgot how many dozens cookies, and I put them in the hot cookies in the middle of the room. And when the guest walked in, all of them said, "It smells like my mom's kitchen." And I find that so fascinating. Not only can food bring back memories, comfort food or food from the past, but how food can trigger memory in a sense just by the smell, not by the taste, but the smell of it. And that is powerful. I think it's similar to like music.
I completely agree. It's there that I think it's probably very, very rarely explored. But music, everybody knows music triggers memories to an
Yeah.
incredible degree. And I think smell and probably taste both do
Oh yeah.
as well. But it's an area that people have barely scratched the surface in researching it.
Yeah. I think it's something that we have to learn more of because I think it's going to
Mhm.
be because it pulls in the whole dining experience, right? As we look at new experiences to bring to into restaurants, I believe smell is another opportunity to create that. When I work at the restaurants, I always say there's 5 senses we got to work on in your restaurant, right? And it's not just the one or two that we usually go for, but it's the five, right? And if you can nail most of them, you're doing quite well. But a lot of restaurants I find don't work on the smell of the restaurant.
Yeah, I'll tell
Well, they
you.
work at
I tell you,
exhausting the smell,
the
actually.
No,
Gordon
Bill.
Ramsay steak in Las Vegas smells like floor cleaner. This makes me. I think I went to their. I went to. We're speaking of Las Vegas. This I couldn't believe this. Like Gordon Ramsay. I like Gordon Ramsay on TV, and I
Yeah.
like his shows. And I've had a couple of good meals at some of his restaurants. But I know because this is what I'm thinking about Las Vegas because of being in Las Vegas. I had an incredibly expensive meal at Gordon Ramsay's Steak in the Paris, and the whole freaking restaurant smelled like it had been recently cleaned. I wasn't able to smell the steak. All I was
Oh,
smelling was their stupid whatever, their floor mopping fluid. And this is like it's just what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you in a
yeah.
larger way and saying you can really go wrong in a restaurant with it didn't keep people from dining there, of course, but I guess they didn't know before they came it was going to smell so crummy. But that's anyway to emphasize your point. The smell it is a Subway. Nobody likes going to eat at Subway really, but it
They
smells
spend
good.
The
they spend
bread.
a lot of money on that though. They that is
Yeah.
for a reason, right?
Yeah.
That smell is there.
Because it works.
It does.
Yeah,
I love going there.
I played football across from a KFC. You try that, Bill. Playing
I
football
think
beside the KFC, that smell?
and I know they do it in malls too with like Auntie Anne's pretzels and Wetzel's pretzels in those places. They
Yeah.
blast the smell into the mall and it makes you want it. And it's like I think that's yes, the whole idea of smell,
That works
both
too.
good and bad, is a factor that restaurants
Good or bad?
should
Well,
take
if you
into
go in the
account.
bathroom and you smell the cleaner, that's a good place to keep that smell, right?
Yeah, not in a dining room.
We're getting ready to wrap here, but to chemical manufacturers, they have this figured out for exactly the reason you say. For the front of the house, they have what's called neutral cleaner that's got no smell. Exactly for that reason,
Smart.
right? Yeah, for sure. And then in the bathroom, yeah, we need the scented stuff because people expect it to smell that way. But in the front, yeah, of course, it should smell like steak.
Yeah.
Not Lysol. Anyways, well, Bill, thanks again for dropping in. I hope you have a great holiday and
Thank you so
get some good
much.
rest. And we'll have you back in a month.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see
And
you next month, and then the
Yeah.
next time after that will be in Chicago at the restaurant show. Very
Oh,
exciting.
and then after that, we'll probably see you in Calgary for one of those dinners. We're gonna
I sure hope so. I'm very excited. About that.
we're gonna talk now because I'll find the restaurant. I think I know a restaurant that would love to do this, and a really nice place too.
yeah, we're
That's
going to bring you
terrific.
up here.
Yeah.
We're going to bring you
I
to
can't wait to
Calgary.
do it. I can't wait to do it,
Let's do it.
and we can do I have a somewhat Canadianized version of it too that we can
Perfect.
also discuss. That I look forward to. Hopefully, relations between our countries
Well,
will be a little bit better.
these are the things that build. Well, and food. Guess what? Guess what? People break bread. That's where you get together and talk. And
That's what the two countries got to do is to just have
Yeah,
a big
for sure.
meal together. We just need to have a
well,
meal
I'm going to
together.
start a invite an American to dinner thing, Jay.
There we
this
go. Yeah,
next
we
week,
should do that.
Yeah.
Awesome, Bill. Well, thanks so much,
Thanks,
Bill. You
Bill.
enjoy your
All right.
holiday.
Thanks, guys.
You bet.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Yeah, what a
There you
great
go, Dom.
guest, Jay.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Bill's
man.
always awesome. I always like
Yeah,
checking
it's a
out
lot
Bill.
of fun.
Finding
He
little
knows a
stories.
lot of shit, man. He
That's why
knows
he's
a lot.
that's why he's on the Food History Channel TV
Yeah.
show.
He knows a lot of stuff.
The Food That Built America. You ever watch it?
Yeah, I like that show.
He's on it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch it all the time. There's a lot of history there. You know what we need in Canada is a museum, restaurant
A
museum.
food museum. Yeah. Well, wow.
A lot of history there. We're losing a lot of it.
Yeah, we are.
You look tired.
I'm beat, man. Tired. Busy
Long day
couple
on
days.
that lazy boy.
Yeah. I'm working, Jay. You know I'm
I
working.
know. It's
working.
all work related. I know,
Yeah.
CRA. So it's all good. So, anyways, thanks to everyone else that joined us. Dom, you have a great night. Get
Jay,
some
this
rest.
like our show got like what 2.5 minutes shorter with these 10-second intros and outros, right?
Yeah. You like those, eh? You don't like
I think
those?
you got to double it up, buddy.
No, it
Cheers.
almost, you know what? It's almost like the 70s show from the 90s or the early 2000s. All right.
Cheers.
All right. We'll see you later. Cheers.
Bye-bye.